Hello.
Yo. Hey, P. Hey,
Hello.
people.
Hello, everyone. How's it hanging?
Hope y'all are hanging in there. Are doing well. We're crying, but being kind to yourself about it.
I mean, I mean, but it's Leo season out here. So I hope y'all all aren't crying right now. Like, it's not the time. It's not the time. Like, I don't know what sign you got to be sad during Leo season. Like, catch our vibe, man. Catch our
All the
vibe.
tears, yeah. Hopefully you cried out the tears in Cancer season. Or you'll get them for Scorpio. But if you are crying, it's okay.
Indeed. Indeed. You know who's not crying? Us. We are back for the second week in a row.
My goodness.
Uh, for the first time in like months.
Months. It's been so many months. Oh, I started to forget we started this. It's been so long.
I mean, it's weird we putting things on pause sometimes. Maybe that's how they do. That's how they do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's not always press go. It's sometimes sit and reflect. Whew. But we're back now.
Indeed. For now, anyway. Um,
And we were just talking about something, so we decided to start up an episode and talk to you all.
oh yeah, what was he talking about?
Now let me try to remember. We were talking about energy and how we're not going back to how things were for us before COVID, and how it's just so strange to us to think about like having to guard our energy constantly, or having to ride public transportation constantly, or having to go into buildings and be around people you don't know, but they got some wild energy going on, and you just have to like fight in the ether, like fight on the spiritual plane, fight in your aura to try to push it back, because we
I
don't
mean,
do
I
that no
wonder
more.
if our like spiritual immune systems will be weakened or strengthened from this, because it's like before we were exposed to all the time. Like there was some skill in being able to guard your energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was it exhausting? Yes. Did we need a break? All of us collectively? Hell
Yes.
yes. Um, and also like, I mean, I feel stronger this way,
Mm-hmm.
but probably only if shit doesn't like I'm in a different phase. I'm not in the trauma shit raining down on me phase. So
Mm-hmm.
like for people who are still in those phases of life, does the slow pace feel like a help or a hindrance? Like that's
I
like if you're not
think,
in slow mode.
yeah, it might depend on the the flavor of trauma that they're experiencing. Like
Mm.
my flavor was slowing things down. I would feel very bored and restless. So I had to learn how to enjoy the rest and to find movement in rest. For someone else, where things are constantly going and they really need it to slow down, and when they get the slow, they feel good. That's probably a hindrance to have to go back to work out in the world, or to have to go back to doing this quote unquote, back to normal fuck shit that they keep talking about. Or they used to keep talking about. I don't know what they talk about now.
Mm-mm. I,
Mm,
I think we're in the new quote new normal or whatever the fuck.
mm.
Which is it's new and normally like feels like it should have been this way forever ago, but
Yeah, yeah,
it was
do.
very much not. It was very different. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oof, the moves we would make, the transitions, the energy, the people, like just so many things. Actually, now that I say that out loud, it actually kind of makes me, knowing how busy my life is going to be in the future, it makes me kind of excited to also know that it will also be very slow and calm.
Yeah, it will.
Like it'll be full, but
Mm-hmm.
full will look different than full would have looked like 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you also know very deeply how transitions impact you. So when you have the full busy life, like you're going to have like probably some sort of ritual or time and space around the transitions to like connect.
Oh, got to.
Yep.
See, having me or in all that are attached to me just floating
Mm-hmm.
out here,
Mm-hmm.
gotta hold the shit down. Otherwise, why
Mm-hmm.
am I alive? Like I've failed all my missions if I don't execute that one.
Wow. Can people fail a mission and they know it?
I mean, I feel like people who don't want to, who opt not into doing the work are not passing it.
Dang.
Like, but also I'm on a whole different system than like my system has less like compassion in it. I'm like, fuck yeah, you fail. Cause if you're not hustling hard, you ain't finna, I mean, you might win like in a 15-year span or some shit, but who's trying to do that? So like if there's winning, I feel like there's also
Oh, I mean, that makes sense. It's hard for me to wrap my head around because I'm like, that feels like human standards on something spiritual. But in my mind, I'm just like, maybe this is just an aspect of my, like what I believe. Like,
I
I
mean,
don't,
also remember all the human people. You be the first one being like, I forgot human people were so
oh
human.
my gosh, I continue to forget. I was like,
You
no, but like
forget every
everybody's
time.
trying.
No, they
Everybody's
are
trying.
not. People are actively trying to go their entire lives without actually having to pay. Those
I
people, yes,
forgot
they failed the
again.
mission
I
because
was like,
they
no, everybody's trying really hard.
no, no. People who try really hard are forced to try really hard. They're usually
Oh,
kicked into it by something or other,
dang.
or like
Okay.
are drawn to it. Like it's calling
Okay.
whatever, but
Yeah.
still.
Yeah. I got kicked in. I'm a sensitive person, so it didn't, maybe the things didn't seem, might not be as big for someone else, but I remember the first time I made someone cry when I was a kid, and I was like, oh, my words have an impact. I gotta be kind. I gotta be really thoughtful with my words. Ever since, they've been kicking me down the line further and further in.
I mean, fuck yeah, man. Once you're in, you're in. It's like a cult. It's like a gang, a cult. Like once you're it's a blood pact. And you
Mm-hmm.
be signing up, but you don't even know you be signing up.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, oh, I reacted to that thing on a spiritual level, and now therefore I've signed the dotted line on this bougie ass contract where now I gotta live out the rest of my days growing and trying to be a good person. Oh,
Yeah.
that's another thing we was talking about. We was talking about like how dope it would be to conceptualize just the shadow versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
That is it was a cool exercise. Like to think
Yeah.
about
Who you would
all the
be.
things you would do if
Mm-hmm.
you were just your shadow without having to like work towards being your light self. Like,
Yeah.
if like your shadow self existed outside of you,
Mm-hmm.
who would that be? Which is
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like her. I like mine. I'm like, you's a bitch I would hang out with for real. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would do shifty and shicey shit, but it wouldn't be immoral shifty and shicey.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't be like you can't she's a liar or like you can't trust her.
Mm.
I would be like, no, yeah, I embezzle or like I sometimes, murder people or whatever, but like I'm a cool person. Like
Ah,
I have
you
a
don't think
code.
murder is immoral? Okay. Learning so much.
I mean, it's my whole shadow self. So like assuming that I haven't healed enough to know that like,
Yeah.
I would be like a probably I wouldn't murder people because I'm mad at them. I'd murder people probably like,
To get
you know
more.
what? You really just suffering doesn't isn't necessary. If you can't do it, I'll do it. I'd like have a
Oh,
service to
you'd be
come
like the euthanizing murderer.
I would be that would probably be part of my shadow self.
Yeah,
Or I
okay,
mean
that makes
like
sense. So it's like you're still doing good, but it's like good in the gray area.
it's good in the like you probably shouldn't kill people. That's like literally like eh. um what else would my shadow self do?
Wow.
I don't really care about money and shit like that. So like my shadow self wouldn't give a fuck about money, but it would probably be very justice oriented because assuming
Mm.
I didn't grow up, like getting all that trauma and not understanding why like that's not spread around. I'm like, do you know the world has no justice? So my shadow self might avenge that. Like, be like, you know what, that nigga done
Mm.
fucked up your heart. Right, we gonna send him anthrax in the mail.
Oh,
Like,
dang. Yeah, I was reading something that said that I have the Hoodoo Tarot deck, so I've been using it more. And when it talks about, I forget which card it is, but when I think it's the Justice card. When they talk about justice, they say that root workers didn't believe in justice the same way that we talk about it today. Um, so that, like, what you're speaking to, there would be root workers that people could go to make that, to create their own justice in those ways. So we probably have ancestors in our lineage or guides that we're working with that are like, nah, you want to fuck somebody up, we got you, boo.
right, and it's not even on some toxic shit. Like I've always said, like I'm like a mob boss. Like it's
Mm,
not even personal. I don't feel no types of way about like offing you or whatever. This is probably not
mm.
talk about in the podcast, but like it's not
So long as you never kill somebody,
it's
because
not
if you did, then
personal.
this is
Like
incriminate, this is
it's
evidence now,
right. It's
you
just
know
like it's factual. Like it's just not personal to me. Like tell me what happened. It's like basically I want to be karma. Like tell me what
mm,
happened, and then you know my intuition will tell me what the actual thing for you is instead of
yeah.
like operating in like light and love and shit. Be like, well, you know, actually, the other shadow side is karma, which makes sense because isn't that
Mm,
Saturn and shit? I'm all
yeah.
Saturn ruled and shit. So
Yep.
like,
Saturn and karma, they are
if
in
my shadow
relationship.
shit would
Yep.
be karma, that would be so satisfying for my
Dang.
shadow.
Dang. Dang.
Yeah, but I would be
Wow.
like getting back at the thing that's always like it's like I can't do nothing. I gotta be real particular about what the fuck I put out there because like
Mm-hmm.
shit be coming back. I'm like I'm a perfect. I'm not gonna do the wrong thing because I
Mm-hmm.
don't have time. Like I can handle it, but I don't have time. I
Mm.
have shit to do. But
Mm-hmm.
my shadow self doling out karma
Yeah.
and then getting away with it because like I would still have my characteristics.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Ugh.
Yeah. That sounds cool as fuck. Like, I might, because I'm so sensitive, I might back up from her, but I might be following her on social, or I might be like wanting to wait out for when she
Oh,
has a book or something. She
oh
sounds
yeah,
cool.
because I'd be entertaining as fuck. Like I would still be Leo, so I'd be like
Mm-hmm.
talking about the shit, right? Probably famous off the shit,
Yep.
like being all anonymous, but also out in the public, like
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah. Like I'm meant to
Wow.
be in the spotlight, so yeah. I don't
True.
know if you would be. You might be too sensitive to be friends with
Mm-hmm.
me for real. Your
Mm-hmm.
attachment shit would be off the
Mm-mm.
wall.
No, no, can't do that. But from afar, I'd be like, I respect her game. Like, look, she getting that money. There's certain celebrities I feel that way about now. I'm like, I don't like you. I won't listen to whatever you put out, but I respect that you're rich. Good for you. um, I like this exercise so much. I feel like
This
my if
is
my shadow were in the driver's seat of my life, ooh, I would have so many partners. I would be doing non-monogamy in the most toxic of ways. I would be the person who's like gaslighting people, like when they come to me and they're like, Ada, you're on some fuck shit. Like this thing really hurt my feelings. And but I would be like, no, that didn't happen. I would be ooh. I would have so many manipulative tendencies and characteristics and abilities. Um, and I would have multiple relationships, so many probably super codependent ass relationships, but I would be somehow getting so much out of it. I would probably also be a cult leader because I would still be super spiritual, but I'd be like, come everybody, you need to follow me. It's about me. I would be center, ego. I have my Leo energy. I have my Leo Chiron. So it would be like all that insecure, toxic masculinity shit, it would be center stage. But I would somehow it would warp people's perception because I'm like, but I'm not a cis man. You can't hate me. And there'd be some people that would be like, damn, they're right. I can't. They're queer, they're non-binary, they're black. We want to support black people. Okay, we gotta. I would be so fucking rich, yo. I would exploit so many people. Whew.
and then
You
probably
can't
also
do it.
knowing that you're exploiting. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Oh, to be blind, that's like the masculine shadow. It's like just
Mm-hmm.
stay blind, stay unawake.
No, I would know. I would know. Oof. Oof. Hurts my heart to think about. Like my whole back part of my heart is like throbbing right now. I can't do that. Like
Oh, we're in such
I
different stages
can't do
of
it.
the journey. They took me so much that I'm like, I don't even, that just feels like liberation. Because last week I was talking about murder suicide. So this, like, getting to like get out into my shadow stuff after doing all this fucking light work for what? Like, does not feel bad in my body. I'm like,
Mm,
feels like, feels like me, feels like a part of me. So
yeah,
I'm like, this shows that I've learned to love my shadow unconditionally because
that's true.
is bad as fuck, but not in the bad way, you know?
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. Loving your shadow unconditionally. What's that like? Walk us through that.
I mean, it's the same thing as loving yourself, I guess, but it's like, it's the work. It's the work that if we're all on the ascension journey or whatever, or the healing journey, whatever journey you're on, I feel like it's the accumulation of all the work of it's the when you're learning to love your inner child and learning to love all your parts and learning to
Yeah.
love, it's like it's the end of that. It's like, well, then if you love all those
Mm,
things, then you just love yourself unconditionally. You never,
mm,
like, I never have an ill thought about myself. Like, there's
mm,
never a judgment of like I walk through past the mirror or whatever. Like, there's never a self criticism. I don't have
mm.
this inner critic or whatever. Like, that's the end goal. I think, like, when
Yeah,
you're at peace with every part, it's like, okay, well,
yeah.
I was feeling a way today, or like I talked about murder on a podcast, and like I don't feel a way about it. I'm like, okay, man, I'm just saying, I like it's all genuine and authentic. So like, it don't really, you
Mm,
can't take nothing from me.
mm-hmm.
I
Wow.
mean, getting there was a lot of work. Getting there
Yeah,
it is the whole journey, but on the other side, it's like, okay, well, can't even spirit knock me down, really.
yeah. Ooh.
Not a threat, not a threat. I
No, it didn't feel like one to me. So
I'm just
hope it
making
doesn't feel
clear
like
to
one to
spirit.
spirit because I'm
I
like
mean, yeah,
I hope I would have more ego than spirit would.
I mean, I would hope so, but you know they'd be petty, so I just had to make it clear, like, that was not a threat. I'm just saying that you have built a bad image. Like, I have gained many things, learned many things. I'm
Only the
strong.
person who's been beat down that much will be like, wait, wait, wait. I know what I said. Let me clarify.
Right. Like, I know how the game works. Like, don't get cocky. Don't have any emotion.
Don't
That
get
is, be
cocky.
neutral.
Don't get
Like,
cocky is
neutral
for
as
real.
fuck is what they need. Like,
Yeah.
anything other than neutrality is like, it's a no go, man. It's a
Yeah.
no go.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. That reminds me of that song Be Humble. Like
Mm.
that's what it felt like it was teaching me when it came out. Like I don't think I could have said I had the language for it, and I definitely didn't understand what it means to love my shadow unconditionally. I don't believe I'm there yet. I feel like I get glimpses of that, glimpses of days that I could look in the mirror and I'm just like, ah, you cute. Like glimpses of times when I'm not doubting myself or speaking badly about myself or critiquing myself, and I'm celebrating those because they feel so different than what I've been used to. But you articulating that, it's reminding me of that song, and it's reminding me of like it like maybe embedded something in my body or in my energy, because you saying that felt like the key, and I was like, yes, this journey is so much about humility. um, to get cocky is it makes it doesn't even make it about you, like you, us, we. It makes it about aspects of our woundedness.
Oh yeah, it's ego. Like, ego
Yeah.
is just wounds, and like if that comes into, if that drives at any point, which it does because everybody's human, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it just takes over. Like, that's not that's not freedom. Like, if ego
Mm-hmm.
is driving, you're trapped in the car.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Trapped in the car going 90 miles an hour on like in a suburban area.
Yeah, yeah. Whew. Yeah, man. What else did I learn? I just learned, oh, that I sent you a message last week about, my new discoveries around weed or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, so I
Tell
was
the people.
wondering,
Tell the good people.
because they've been with me on this weed journey a little bit as well.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so so I had been sober. I think I mentioned before. I had been sober for like basically July,
Mm-hmm.
um, and my relationship with weed is always, it's not tumultuous, but it's very directed to my relationship with spirit. It's very directed to my relationship with my twin flame. So
Mm.
it's like a soulful relationship. So I'm always
Yeah.
paying attention to, how I feel around it, how I feel around smoking. What is my
Yeah.
frequency? What is this meaning? What is this teaching me? Like what,
Yeah.
all these, how am I using it? Like all the things
Mm-hmm.
I'm paying attention to. And also because it used to be shadow shit. Like it used to be, and I see that even more now. Like when I that used to be the feeling that kept me alive because I did not
Mm.
want to be here. Um, even up
Wow.
until like earlier this year, I would say like, oh yeah, I keep
Yeah.
forgetting why I stopped smoking once I do smoke again. Cause I'm like, oh right, this brings me back. Like even the weed that I was saying to you that I have right now is that bring me to heaven type of weed, like take me
Mm-hmm.
home type of weed,
Mm-hmm.
which was true last fall, but that was also indicative of where I was last fall and where I'm
Wow.
now is like, yes, the weed is good, but last week when I smoked the first time,
Mm-hmm.
I had this experience of this isn't even this doesn't even come close to feeling as good as I felt, the Saturday before when I was like at home by myself.
Wow.
Like getting home by myself again after I got tripped up and shit. Like
Wow.
that the joy and the gratitude and the ease, I'm like, yeah, this is like on my birthday I was feeling that. And
Yeah.
so then afterwards when I was high, the feeling normally is like, okay, now I can breathe again. Like that's I've said that to you many times. Like, okay,
Yeah.
it's like I can't breathe until I smoke. And when
Yeah.
I smoked this time I was like, oh, actually, like this is okay, but this, even at the peak high, doesn't come close to the natural high, which is what I've been working towards this whole.
Wow.
Is I was working towards it and also didn't know that the natural high, like I had this sense and I'm like, I know I just want to work. I feel like I'm not gonna need weed. I feel like it's not going to be like I want my actual life to be my high, and
Mm.
don't want to I don't want to need it. And
Mm-hmm.
like I'm there other than the fact that I definitely need it for
Mm-hmm.
working purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if I X that out, I've been asking Spirit, I'm like, I don't even want to use this for the thing that you designated me to use it for right now, because I don't even want that. That feels very like like it's not even being used for healing or anything anymore. Like that's just coping. And I'm like, okay, well,
Wow.
you can alleviate some things I need to cope with. Like that's not, if it's not healing something, that's like something you can deal with
Mm.
relatively quickly. So
Mm-hmm.
this other avenue of me being able to like transition away from what I'm doing into my new thing,
Yeah.
being able to come up more quickly than I had originally anticipated is
Mm-hmm.
great, because I'm like, I don't want to. Weed is cool. Weed is good. And also now I know what it feels like to feel like I know what a pure high feels like. And that shit
Wow.
had not happened before. Not happened for the last what 10 15, 6 years maybe.
Wow.
Like it's like, damn, I haven't wanted to live for like 6 years, like, which is true. I did not want to live for like the last 15 years. So
Wow.
yeah, it was trippy as fuck. I was like, damn, this is what heal feels like. Every layers. I keep telling you, layers. Spiritual
Yeah. This is a
layers.
lot of
Like
layers. It's like
I
so
thought
many
I was done.
dimensions.
I thought I was done, and yet then you keep showing me again that I
Wow.
there's more. There's more. It's unlocking doors and doors and doors.
Oh my gosh. You're not getting dizzy in the labyrinth?
No, because now I know how to run the. I'm like all this looks familiar. Like it's not anything. Yeah, I'm not going to. I like it. Just it feels like a long fucking walk. I'm like, can we stop? Because just I'm just like bored with this game already. Like we've done
Wow.
this already too many times. I done memorized Labyrinth. So and they're like, yeah, you're right, you're done. So you don't have to keep walking. And I'm like, but so you want me to just sit
Stop.
here and wait? Like that don't even feel right. Like I'm a try. So I've been trying to sit still. I'm like, okay, right. This is not punishment. It is not about me. Truly, and for the first time ever, not about me.
Wow. Wow. That you just get to be, but on like a whole different level because you've learned the being on the 3D. Like the way your life moves, you have so much stillness. You're
Mm-hmm.
taking your
Mm-hmm.
time. You be moving at your own pace. You be accomplishing a lot, but you be moving in that divine feminine sort of energy. And like with that, just that speed, it's like a speed that's slow. It's a speed that's like very graceful. Um, you learned it on the 4D in terms of your relationship to time and the faith that you have. You've learned it on the 5D. I'm like, there's just so many layers of expressing that it's not about you, that like your life is about you, but that at least the twin flame journey, it's not it is about you in terms of whenever you're feeling triggered and the different ways that you're seeing yourself as a reflection. But once you're not, or once you've practiced that level or that aspect of that
Right.
lesson so many times and you just know and you work through it again and you love on yourself again, then it's just like it's not about you.
Right. It's like holding the both end of like, it's not about you, but also pay attention to the details because the lessons that are happening are yours, but also big. It's like zooming out. Like if you zoom out, it's like, okay. Like I
Wow.
can rationalize this is both about me and not about me. And like I was saying, prior to now, the about me part was true because it's like, what is the lesson? What am I supposed to be learning? How am I supposed to be growing? That's why I can have so much fucking patience and compassion because, like, it's not about, it's like, it's also like, it's not about him
Mm-mm.
either. Like, the twin flame journey isn't about the other person, it is about you only.
Mm-hmm.
But being about you is also being about humanity. So that means it's also not about you.
Yeah.
Like it's twofold. It's both it's about your journey, but only because your journey impacts humanity, which is actually not about you. It's like you just have to become a vessel. Like it's about you
Wow.
becoming the best version of yourself so that you can be used for the highest purpose.
Wow.
So it's like they're just polishing something. They're not really like concerned with the you inside of you. They're just concerned with get it all out so that we can put us inside of you.
Wow. It's like I'm starting to wonder if the twin flame journey is a reflection of what humanity could be one day.
That's what they
Um,
say. That's what it's supposed to be. You're
oh,
supposed to be
okay.
where the ideal, I mean, okay. Like, it's supposed to be a representation of unconditional love to the world and like
Yeah.
utopia and harmony and compassion, like all those things. So, like, the ideal relationship, the ideal, like, if you're in the business sector, like the ideal of every like the
Wow.
example people. So when I'm like, I'm gonna have a divine house, so I'm like, that's literally like that's literally the whole calling. Well, part of the calling because they be having pieces to mine. But like, I can't not to not do it in this, like to not fully form as a soul, like that interferes. But the calling is is very clear. So
Wow.
we got to get there. Like you may not want to win, but that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna kill that nigga because like you may not want to win, but I'm going to win. Like we're going to make it one way or the other.
Wow. Wow. I'm just like, as I'm listening to you talk about this and the layers of it, I'm learning so much. I'm like, oh, it's like I'm starting to be able to see a vision of um, the type of life, the type of community that I would want to be a part of. And I understand how my inner child and like the wounded parts of me and even my shadow have been like, I want a lot of friends. One day I want a lot of friends. Why I always get one friend? Throughout my life, I've always had one really good friend at a time. Um, I've had more people, but they're not like the good friend who like knows you really well and you can connect and you can learn with and grow with. And I didn't even realize that that was something that some people went their lives without. I've never gone without a best friend. I've always had one person. Even at transitory times in my life, like little 3 4 month stints, there's always one person at a job. There's always one person at some juncture at my life
Mm-hmm.
that I like really connect with. And it's like I have a buddy through that period of my life. Um, and so I didn't even realize that some people don't have that. And some people go for so long without that. It's just been a staple. And I used to think that I was going to have like a whole community of people who I felt like that towards and who felt like that towards me. And you've been telling me for years, like, not you're asking for too much, Ayda, but kind of like in your own way, like, I don't know, like a lot of people, they don't move like you move and you need a certain thing. A lot of people, they don't have certain energies and you need a certain thing. And I'd be like, yeah, but like, I can make it work. I can make it work. And I've been
Trying hard
trying,
ever since.
trying so hard ever since. And really starting to see and continuing to see that the energy that I bring is it's just so different. And I think when I was younger, people used to say that they thought that I thought I was better than them. And I was so confused by that because I was like, I'm not thinking about you. I'm thinking about like my schoolwork. I'm thinking about I was so anxious. I was so type A in my own ways, but also I never wanted to do stuff. Like I always wanted to rest. So I had a pretty good balance, I think. Um, And so it was so confusing to me that the ways that I would walk around and the ways that I would just basically kind of like have a blank face or mean mug a little bit because I was anxious. People thought I was mad. Um, that it's just like, I lost my train of thought.
Oh
It was right
no.
there and it just disappeared. Can you tell me the theme of what I was talking about again?
You were learning something about yourself from me talking about the twin flame journey, and you were accessing something deeper. Like,
Mm-hmm.
uh, let's see, you're talking
Remember,
about
I was saying people used to think I thought I was better than them.
the energy that you're putting out or something.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, nothing sparking.
Mm-mm, 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 no.
That's hilarious. I was so engaged too. I was like, yes, what are they gonna say? Like, what is the point? What are they gonna
Dang.
say?
I gotta write down the point or something sometimes.
Oh
Dang.
man, that was good.
It was right
That was good.
there. And I was like, ooh, I'm going towards that finish line. It's gonna feel so good for all of us. And it just disappeared.
This is what it feels like when I try to have an orgasm. Like getting
Oh,
right there.
oh fuck.
Spirit's so fucked up.
I'm so sorry for you, dude. Oh my gosh. Partially, I wish that I had more education around sexuality because I'm like, let's talk about that. Like, what?
Oh,
Let's
I
talk
know what
about
the fuck
that.
it is. I know what the fuck it is. It's all related to this fucking twin flame. It's
Oh,
all fucking related, bruh. It's all related. I done
oh,
figured it out. Like,
oh.
but yeah, no. No, pent up not being safe shit. It's like, how you gonna be whatever. I'm not
Yeah,
even gonna get into it.
yeah.
Um, but I would like is for you to remember what the fuck you was finna say and not give a nigga like just blue balls out here waiting to figure out what the fuck you was finna say.
Okay, okay, okay. You were teaching me what I was learning about in the twin flame journey was how I was getting, oh, okay, it's coming back. I had to go to the beginning. All right, all right, all right. I had to go to the beginning. All right, so let me go to the punchline first. I was I was envisioning what community could be in the sense of, um, you know how some people, they dream of communal living. I wasn't necessarily seeing myself on a compound with other people that are like, you know, farming and doing their own thing, but I was seeing a collectivist society. I was seeing pockets of our cities, like neighborhoods, looking like that. I wasn't seeing it as a utopia where everybody does the same thing. I was seeing the people who do their thing different, who do their thing like, and it's just about service of humanity, and they're really about their healing, doing it brighter, doing it shinier, while at the same time other people are doing other stuff that seems really egocentric. Like it's just everything would just be more amplified. It's like all I saw was like electricity all over the earth, but it wasn't electricity that we pay for. It was just energy. Like the earth was like pulsating with this energy of high vibration and low vibration at the same time, making these kind of warping sounds of frequencies over the earth's surface, like more, but it's like pulsating with that energy. Um, so yeah, that's what I saw in terms of the twin flame. That's what I understood.
What?
That doesn't make sense. I went to the punchline first.
So are you saying that was like a vision you had of the future, or that's the metaphor of the twin flame journey that you were seeing?
In my body, visions and metaphors are the same thing. So,
Oh,
um,
that's not helpful.
I get the sense that the twin flames are reflecting, and it's what you said, that I said this and you said, yeah, that's what they say. So I get this sense that twin flames are reflecting what is the most ideal aspects of the light side of
Mm-hmm.
humanity, the people who are
Mm-hmm.
healing, who want to serve others. And
Mm-hmm.
I was seeing more people, whether they were in a twin flame journey or not, I was seeing more people like living in ways that are supportive of others, and people being able to see it very clearly. You know, like I feel like people who serve and people who give, they don't always do it for limelight. They don't always do it with an expectation to be in the front, but I was seeing more people be in the front. I was seeing people on their social medias like talking about their healing constantly, and their service. I was seeing like being able to walk down a street and see a person at a community, see all these people at a community garden in the middle of a workday, and also see people like, I don't know, on the other side of the street doing whatever, who knows what, like at the same time. So it's like utopia, not in the sense of everybody's doing the same thing, but utopia in the sense of it all exists at the same time, but at similar levels. It doesn't feel right now like the dark energy and the light energy, whatever it is we really mean by that, is operating at the same, like equal levels to each other. I was seeing equal levels in the
Gotcha. Which
vibrations.
which would make sense because they say that each twin flame pair that comes into union, like you kind of recalibrate the vibration of humanity. So it's
Wow.
like the more, the more people that do the fucking work, like, ugh, it's a lot. It's a lot. I get it. But the more people that do, more twin flames that do come to union, that is the actual representation of what it should look like. Like,
That's cool as fuck.
yeah, that, I mean, yeah. So to feel that in your body and to know that that is like what you're here to do and to know that it's right there, it's so clear. And then to be told, like, nah, bruh, what you talking about? Like, that's not even a thing. It's like, it's so, ugh, it's like, oh, why are you blocking my soul from doing the thing that it's here to do?
Yeah. It's very obnoxious.
Indeed. But
To
what
have
a,
to wait human timelines. Stuff moves so slow down here.
do, 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 do. Oh, what else? What else are we talking about before? Hmm.
Damn. You said all that in 40 minutes.
I know. I feel like we got to a lot of things,
We
but I don't.
did. We really did. I'm like, oh, this was a dense one. Hmm.
Talked about our shadow selves.
Yeah.
Talked about.
Twin flame unions and the ascension journey.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Something else. Something else. We talked about something else. I can't remember. This is like I don't know what this is, but I don't. I don't hate it.
I was like, I mean, it's like being able to speak and have short term memory. That can just be, it can roll like power outages. It's all good. I don't need my brain to operate at 100% of the time all the time. It deserves a break too, you know?
And
That's
this
how I feel.
it's sure not yours. Just like my brain specifically. Like no, we just need. We're always on, but we don't really need to interact with other people's shit that much.
Yeah.
Like
And it's like that part of me that used to be able to interact with other people's shit, it's atrophy.
yes. Ooh,
Yeah.
took it away because I'm like, ooh, child. The way that I entered in and the way that I'm leaving out is like,
Yeah.
oh, damn.
Yeah.
It's all the way different. I'm like, who'd have thought? Who'd have seen that coming? Like
I,
that.
I don't know. Like you used to be all love and light, help all of humanity, like give to the poor.
Mm,
Everybody, you loved everybody. Everybody loved you. And now you're like, let me get that back. Let me take care of myself. Let me envision my future. Let me work towards the. I was like, who it is? What her
I
name?
know. This is the thing that I like talk to clients about when they're like, it feels, when they're first learning to set boundaries or whatever. It's like it feels wrong. It feels mean. It feels whatever. And it's like it's going to because it's different. You're learning how to be balanced, how to give in a
Yeah.
balanced way, and that feels different than how you've done it before.
Yeah.
And like that's what I feel like this is. It's like it feels almost wrong to not be as like over the top, mushy gushy, lovey
Mm,
like as I was, even though when I met you, I was balanced. By that time, I was really balanced in it, and it
yeah. But you
still was
still were
just a
doing it.
lot. Yeah, and now I feel like I'm even more. It's like the
Wow.
neutrality that spirit has with things, where it's just like it is. It like love is just it's a fact, and it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
like overacted or like overemphasize like it's strong on its own, so like
Mm-hmm.
just the fact that it's there is enough. It doesn't have to
Mm-hmm.
be like I need to speak in soft like being intuitive and be there and be present and be giving back and be good intentioned and
Yep.
like be in servitude towards like your highest good and towards the universe and like all the things like that's what love feels like now. So it feels
Yeah.
like it doesn't feel in my body as much like the love that I used to practice used to, but
Mm-hmm.
it feels like the way I feel spirits love, where it's like, yeah, it's a
Mm.
thing. I mean, it's a thing because I like act it out, but I kind of really need to like go deep into my heart and mushy gushy shit to like prove that I love you or anything.
Yeah.
Like it feels this is what my version maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna keep evolving, but I'm like my right now is like, how the twin flame journey is supposed to turn you into basically God level. Like you're the Trinity
Whoa.
now. Like
Whoa.
it's you, the universe, and then your twin flame, and then humanity. Like you're supposed to all be kind of like it's like one telepathic brain kind of thing. Like you elevated to work at the highest level. Um,
Whoa.
and that's kind of what it feels like. I feel like I have the attitude of spirit when I don't get tripped up into like ego shit. But like
Mm-hmm.
when I'm in my higher self, I feel like it's a very like, okay, well, I'm gonna do good because I do good. But like that's just the mathematical equation of this life. So like that's not
Yeah.
even like it's not like I'm gonna do good because I have a bleeding heart and whatever. Like that part
Oh.
of me, as you know, is dying. Like I can
Yeah, it
barely do
is.
that in my daily life. I'm like, I
Whew.
don't but it doesn't feel low frequency. It feels higher frequency than
Mm-hmm.
typical.
Yes. That's so cool.
It
That's so cool.
goes to show there are many levels to love. There are many ways to
There
love. There are many
are.
ways to like express it and experience it. And
Yes,
whether you've healed or whether you're healing, or whether you haven't healed or whether whatever, like it just, I mean, that's the whole premise of love languages. It's like people express it differently
they
and they
do.
feel it
They feel it.
differently.
Yeah.
Like, if you haven't taken a love language test, I recommend figuring yours out,
Definitely.
like for yourself, because
Definitely. And they can change over time. They can shift
Mhm.
in terms of your top ones.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
and
like
good.
during, go ahead.
God,
Do you want to go?
no, God.
Okay. So I remember I took it during the pandemic, like earlier in the pandemic in 2020, I think, because I was in this whole deep dive of like, who the fuck am I? Like, I gotta find out because I don't feel like I'm one person. I don't feel like I'm myself. I was discovering all of these parts of myself, inner child, shadow, ego, and I was just like, what's going on? How do I think about things? And so I took the love languages test again, and physical touch was number one. And before it had been, I think, quality time. And I was like, that makes sense. Living alone, being single at a time when not
Mm,
being able to go to work, not being able to go to the gym, like not being able to do my daily routines and being just by myself for so long. Whew.
yeah,
So it had me like give a lot more compassion to myself. I had to, because even when I started to date in 2020, like it tanked before it was great. So um, the physical touch wasn't a given still. So whew, it's
yeah.
wild. It's wild looking back at how much isolation there was.
So much, so much. And think it's really for well, for one, I think yeah, doing the love languages test is like can also be a good tester to see where you need healing because it sometimes the love language you need
Yeah,
is like where you need it, like you were saying, like when in that moment or in that circumstance. And when thinking about applying it to yourself, like in terms of how growing your self love, which I think is a good exercise, take it not like
absolutely.
who your how your partner can do these things better, but think about how you can do them for yourself better.
Yep,
Like how can you spend more quality time with you? How can
yep.
you, you know,
Having some
things
physical
that
touch with you. Yeah, like
exactly,
taking baths and things.
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. Um, so it could change based off of like your healing journey, where you are in it, and give you a
Absolutely,
really be a really good indicator. What I also
absolutely.
find funny is that you and I are very consistent in the fact that we are so different. Every time
Hmm.
you take a personality test, is something different. And I'm like, I've been taking them for years on end, and they're always the exact same. Like I've taken the love language test 3 times, I think, in the last like with Emily was the last, so like since 2016, and
Whoa.
I take it each time I've taken it for the same reason, and
Yeah.
then gotten the same results, which really just like go against my reasoning for taking the test in the first place. Because every time I take it because I'm like, I feel like words of affirmation should be a thing for me. Like I
Oh,
feel like there
it's
maybe that's my
not,
love
is
language. It's
it?
not. No, my top two are
Oh,
physical or quality time and physical touch, which that is like the
oh,
truth of the matter, and that always comes out that way. And this
wow.
last time, I think I took it in the spring, where I was like having this feeling of like, why do I feel like I need words so badly? And I realized, oh, it's because I'm not getting them. It's because I'm not
Mm,
actually none of my love languages are being met right now, but I'm not
mm,
getting verbal affirmation. And then I really thought about it. I was like, but when it does come, it doesn't mean anything to
it
me.
doesn't.
Like
It
it just, I
doesn't.
like
You're like,
it
that's
just,
nice.
right. I just blow by it and it
Hmm.
doesn't mean anything, even though like, again, in this twin flame journey, it's like when he would say something nice, I would clock it, but I would clock it like a minute after it was already done and gone past it. I'm like, oh, right. What did he say that was nice yesterday? I don't even know. Like, I don't even remember, but I had this need. I'm like, I need more
Oh my
words. But
gosh.
no, it was just the lack of what was in my
Yeah.
physical environment. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oof.
Well, my needs are the same. They are not being met, none of them. And a bitch is in need. This is not okay.
It's not. It was not.
uh,
Wow. What a journey to find out that you don't love words of affirmation. I'm like,
I
yeah.
know every
Mm-hmm.
time I take it, so I'm like, words of affirmation, I feel like that's important. Like when I was in therapy and took it with my when I was attaching to my therapist, I was like, I feel like
Feel like it's
validation is
important.
important. And I'm like, it's not at all.
Your
It's like my
Aquarius self. I'm
lowest
like, you don't
one.
care. You don't care. Why would you care? I learned that really early on because I used to fawn with everyone. So I learned that early on with our relationship because I would say all my things. I would be like, you're so great, you're blah, blah, blah. And you would just be like, yeah, thanks. And I was like, oh,
That's
but she
true.
still want to hang out with me. I'm like, okay, well, like, maybe I don't gotta do that. First place I practiced.
Yeah, no, it's like the anti me. I'm actually
Uh-huh.
like, I used to be super repulsive. I'd be like, that's a stage 5 clinger right there. Can't even get
Yeah.
near me.
It's
Like,
it's a
can't
it's
even.
I'm like, it's a marvel that we're connected. Like I had all the traits that you were like, mm-mm. And by that point you had boundaries, but still you were like, you're gonna be my best friend. I was like, oh,
Oh, I did say that at
you
the very
did.
jump. I'm like,
Yeah. Because I was gonna say it, but I was like, no, I've always said that to people. Let me hang back. And then you said it. And I was like, dang, okay.
wow, old times, good times.
So long ago. That feels like it was 5 years ago at least.
I know. Back when you also took a different test and were like, here are my 5 results that are fully different
So
than.
different. Everything. I keep changing. It's like I think before I used to fear that there was something unstable about me in a negative way, but now it feels like I'm like a kaleidoscope. And so
Yeah,
it's like you just flip it to the next one and it's a whole different like light that you see, different colors that you see, but I'm still the same kaleidoscope.
yeah. And it's just who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You are an evolving person. I'll be
Truly.
interested to see if that is the case or how much that is the case after your Saturn return. Because
Mm.
I'm better to slow down, but also I
That'd be
feel like it's
nice.
part of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like to be, you're just like not normal.
I'm not at all, like not even in any way. I don't think there's anything normal about me. And it's so liberating to like to understand that now instead of trying to fit into something normal. I'm so weird. Oh, it's so nice to embrace that finally. Oh my gosh, I'm so weird. I'm so excited to see the ways that my weirdness like manifests over the next months and years.
I know you're gonna be so weird but calm. It's like you're not even gonna. It's not gonna be like
It's not going to be for
weird,
attention. Nope.
unique. Like you're just gonna move without question in the way that you feel like it's natural to move without the back and forth of like, is this weird or is this not weird? Like it is. Like just move. Like who cares? It is. You're gonna do it
Exactly.
anyway.
I
So
am. I am. Might as well embrace it and have a good time on the way. Mm-hmm. Oof. I'm so excited. Like, I'm the kid who used to like, I'll be watching TV and I'll be eating my snacks. So I was just, me and the TV were always posted up. That was boo. And every so often I'll get real bored, like, during a commercial break. And so I started doing somersaults off the couch, just try to keep my blood pumping, keep myself entertained. I would do cartwheels, even though I couldn't do cartwheels. I tried to do handstands. We had mirrors in the living room. I was doing handstands against the mirror. Like, never a dull moment in Ayda's world. Like,
sounds about right. Sounds about. I would move. Can't sit the fuck still.
no, no. For what? For who? Oh, I had so much fun. Hmm.
I don't know what else, man. I don't know what else.
I don't either. We done packed a lot into a short period of time.
We sure did. We sure did. We done did it for the second week in a row.
I mean, yeah, good for us. Go Spirit, go team.
I mean, yeah, good for you, Spirit. Let me go ahead and give you a little round of applause because you be liking to stop start shit at your own
Mm-hmm.
convenience. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, I appreciate the momentum, and I will
Mm-hmm.
just take this moment at a time to recognize that you allowed us to have momentum for like 2 weeks. Now,
Yeah.
if it's coming to anything, this may be me testing you, but we gonna see if it's gonna come into anything. If it's not, it's not. But here we are today.
We are open to receive. If it is, if it's not, help us to find, openness to that too.
Ashe.
Not sure. All
Yeah.
right. On that note, let's say goodbye.
Indeed, indeed. Be well, everybody. And until next time, whenever that is.
Yeah. We'll see you in the future. Bye, y'all.
Bye.